Hi. Hello.
Hey, Zahra.
Hello, Jinan. You are sharing the screen, right?
Yes, I'm sharing the screen. I'll stop now. I've let everyone in.
Okay. Thank you, Jinan, for giving the opportunity for the ladies to mute and unmute themselves. So, ladies, today عندكم مطلق الحرية تسوون unmute.
هلو.
هلا. حاولي تشوفي الكاميرا تشغلينها اليوم ولا لا؟ لأننا ما قدرنا.
أنا بس عندي الميوت والهذه بس ميوت.
Because it's a webinar. Yes, it's a webinar. We can only have that. So by the time the others join, I'll just go and share screen.
أنا طرشت لك في لينكدين انفايت connection invite.
I am not very active, but I will check it out.
لأن وايد استمتعت أمس فكنت أبدي طريقة إني I connect with you outside the webinar.
Definitely my WhatsApp is the quickest, but I will I have to start.
Yes. أنا والله إذا عندي الواتساب ما
396309997. This is my number.
لحظة 39 ما توقعت تعطيني الرقم.
لا عادي, why not? 39
إيه
30
30
997.
997. أوكي لحظة 3930997.
396309997. I'll put it on the chat as well.
Okay.
Leslie, the good news, you can unmute yourself and say hello. You don't have to chat. Hello, Reem. Yeah, I ran away from my house because of my kids, so I know what you mean. So I think We have 11 participants and we're giving them another 3 minutes.
Yeah, now I lock the door. So,
You will
so how
call
many,
us and open the door.
how many kids you have?
I have Maria who's 14 and Elena who's 4.
Oh,
So Maria,
mashallah. 10 years gap, huh?
yes, 10 years gap. So Maria will not annoy me, but Elena, actually Maria would love to see me busy, so I don't ask her what she's doing.
Okay.
I think we'll wait another 2 minutes and we can start after that.
My kids are always curious what I'm doing.
How old are they?
My son, he is 9 years old, Haitham, and Yasmin, 6 years old.
Oh, mashallah. Nice age gap.
3 years gap. And then Kalas, Kota, finish.
Yeah. I never say that, you never know.
No, I know.
I have
always
3 daughters.
Oh,
mashallah.
Yes, 5.5, 4, and 2.
Allah
Oh.
ya'eenak. God bless you and be with
Mashallah.
you.
God bless you. That's very tough. 5, 4, and 2.
Yes.
But it will be nice when they grow up. Now it's a bit challenging.
Yeah. When they grow up, it will be much better. It's fun.
Yeah, and they're daughters. They're cute. I
Yeah.
like playing with them.
And daughters, they will help you also.
Yeah.
I agree. So ladies, in 1 minute we will start. I just want to know, yeah, in 1 minute we will start. So, okay, so in a few seconds.
So I have a question. I have a question about being taken seriously. Because when I say that I'm a mother of 3 and I'm doing my own business, they don't see the business, they see that يعني I'm not qualified.
Can we keep this for the later, because this is a very good point, but I want to discuss it when the rest are there.
Okay.
So we will start. And thank you very much for connecting again today. I personally had so much fun yesterday. I have learned a lot. I didn't expect that I would be learning as much as I did. I know that every opportunity is a good opportunity for us to learn something new, but I think the level of learning yesterday was much more than what I expected. So thank you, ladies, for that. I really was hoping that we make this session today more interactive, but because of technical reasons, we cannot. It's a webinar, so we cannot make it interactive. I will only have one request from you. I have asked Jinan to give you the opportunity for the mute and unmute, but let's use the mute and unmute in the right way. So if somebody has noisy background, please just make sure that you're mute, because we do not want to disturb others. If there is a discussion side to side, maybe if I feel that the discussion is extending, I will just come and say, okay, ladies, let's put it for later. Just, you know, the normal setup as if it's a face-to-face workshop. Yesterday we spoke about how to build a business. Can one of you ladies give me like a summary of yesterday? What was it? How to build a business before we go to the next today? And please, before you speak, just introduce yourself. Reem, you want to speak or? And one thing about today, I will be addressing questions suddenly to you, even if you don't want to speak, because I want to hear from those quiet ladies. So Mariam, I will not give you the chance today. I want to see if Reem wants to share.
Hi.
Reem, can you hear me? Reem Al-Basri?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Reem, what was like the outcome of yesterday for you? And don't worry, if there was no outcome, I will not be upset. It's normal. I attend sometimes workshops and I really don't know what was the outcome. So I will
No,
not take it personally.
no, actually, I really had fun yesterday, and it was really, really useful for me. Actually, yesterday I learned that um, the importance of the passion of how to driving you to open your business, and also that also the contracts is very important to read your contracts before you sign them. Uh, and research, always do your research before you take any steps. And I think
you summarized it. I think you really
yeah.
said the right things, the research, the passion, and the legal. I like how Ida wants to take part. I think this is the best part. Whoever wants to speak, just put in the chat so we know. So I can say, okay, please, Fulana. So now, Ida, you would like to share with whatever Reem shared with us. What do you have extra to add? وش أخبارك?
Allah يسلمك. Hi everyone. Okay, regarding yesterday, we learned, for me, to be honest, I learned many things. And you highlighted for me, honestly. Okay, we talked yesterday about the mission, the vision, how important are they? And we talk about, no, I learned how to, it's must, that we must have a digitalized our business. Actually, that is what I'm working on. How to make a solid business, how to be different, what is your passion, how you follow your dream, what is your target audience, why we open that business, and who is our target people, what is our message to them, and what else. Also, when we set a plan, how we should do that plan and how we monitor the plan. Is it will be good for our business or not? It depends. يعني, it's not clear very much for me, but you just highlighted that to me. And what else? And how we build a sustainable business.
Excellent.
Actually, many thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ida. So before we go to today, if you can unmute when you just finish, all of you. So because sometimes what happens, أي حركة, any movement, it won't let the others listen carefully. So before we go to today's, Lamia, you said hello to everyone. Hello, Lamia. I'm not sure if you were attending yesterday because I don't think you were participating much, but if you were, what were the things you learned from yesterday? Lamia, can you hear me? Okay, so since Lamia either cannot hear me or maybe she's busy, I will start today's. Oh, hello everyone. This is Lamia History. Yesterday I missed it. Yes, okay. This is what I was thinking. I didn't read your name yesterday. So today we'll address you a few questions later. So just for you to know, Lamia, yesterday we spoke on how to build our business. We have to think of the why and the when and the where and with who. And we have to think from the beginning. We have to check the legal terms. What do we need? How to register our business. We have to think of all the resources that we need for our business, financial and non-financial. We have to think and identify what's our vision, what's our mission. We have to create a personality, a soul for our business. And then we spoke about how to create the team for that and how to announce. So this is in a lump sum. I will share the workshop presentation with all the people who have attended. I will share with you later on some points, remind you about the mentorship and the internship and the rewards for this workshop. Today we will be speaking about now, khalas, we knew why we want to do our business. We're gonna announce our business. how do we manage our business? What is the right way to manage our business? Before I go to the next slide, would any one of you ladies want to share her views on how we should manage our business? And please, whenever you unmute, just introduce yourself and you can speak. And if you don't want to speak, you can send on the chat. So you don't have to feel shy if you don't want to speak. I will count to 3. If you don't, I will choose one. 1, 2, 3. Zainab, Jamshir, can you tell us how do we manage our business?
Hi,
Hello.
hear me?
Yes, of course.
I've been in the business for the past 10 years,
Mhm.
which is a restaurant management.
Mhm.
It's basically, to make it simple, it's like a babysitting 24/7. That's how you manage it. And you have to check every detail of it. And what else? Managing people is important as well. It's part of it.
Mhm.
Managing the product itself, creating new products, introducing new dishes in the market, and checking the quality. Basically, managing a restaurant is like you're having 100 people, guests coming to your house, and you have to give them food and drinks and everything. So this is how you manage a restaurant business. Just like you have every day, you have guests to your house.
So, and by the way, ladies, you have to visit her cafe. It's really, the food and the recipes are delicious. I am one of their customers for the last 10 years. La Avenue in
Yeah.
Sar.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Zainab, for sharing your experience. Now, I will share with you my experience. For the ladies who have joined today and they were not with us yesterday, this is not an academic workshop. I am not here to tell you how it's written in the book. I am here to share with you my experience because I've started 2 businesses. So it's purely my experience. There is no right and wrong. It's just, I always believe that best knowledge is when it's from practical knowledge. This is how you learn. Of course, academic is very important, but when you hear it from people who did it and they share with you what went right and what went wrong, this is the right way of managing your business or starting a business or doing anything in life. So let's go to my presentation. And for the ladies who have joined only today, one tip about me, I am very bad with technology. So if you see the presentation is slow, it's either the computer or me, I don't know. And funny enough, before the call, everything is normal. Only when you ladies join, لازم أتفشل. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, I know. So I will go back and say, when you manage your business, it's exactly like when you build your business. You need to have the passion, you need to be passionate, you have to work very hard, and you have to grow your business. And I love what Zainab said, babysitter. You have to consider it like exactly it's your baby. Yesterday when I spoke, I didn't say how to issue the CR for your business. I said how to issue the birth certificate for your business. So this is exactly, it suits what Zainab just said. You are babysitting the business, which you have just built. And yesterday I said, one of the questions was, building a business, can the same person who built the business has the ability to manage it? Can can someone who's very good in managing a business also can build a business? Or can you do both at the same time? Now, from my experience, I think some people are excellent in building a business, but they are not good in managing. Some people are amazing in managing anything, but they cannot build from the scratch. And some people can do it both. So you have to be honest with yourself when you're doing the research and when you're thinking of the teams. And we spoke about this yesterday. And you have to be realistic. Am I able to manage this business? If yes, what are the skills I lack and I need to get? None of us is perfect. All of us, we have things that we need to improve ourselves. But a few of us, no matter what we do, we cannot manage a business. And this is a reality. It's like the debate, are leaders born or they are trained to be a leader? Nobody yet know. Some people, they say leaders are born. Some people, they say you can be trained to be a leader. Personally, I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, each one of us, He gave us certain talents and skill. Yes, we can develop them further, but we need to focus on what we have and we have to be honest with ourselves. But regardless of anything, passion is the secret word, whether you want to build a business or you want to manage your business. And working hard, because managing, it means you're managing and you need to have leadership and you need to be the example for the people who work with you. I'm not sure if it was Marwa or Maryam. One of the ladies yesterday said, you need to be part of your team. You need to make them feel, if you decide to manage your business, they should not think or feel that you're working for you. They have to feel that they are working with you. So all these things, teamwork, I should have added over here, teamwork, it's very important to manage a business. Today, we will just speak about all these points. Is managing a business like building a business? What do you need to manage your business? What are the essential roles you need to handle or have people to help to handle when you want to manage your business? How to differentiate your role as an owner and a manager if you will be managing the business? What is corporate governance? And do we need it for startups? What are the challenges you might face when you are managing a business? What skills do you need to have to manage your business? How often and how to evaluate your business? If the business is not going into the planned direction, how to react? How long will it take to go towards your identified goals and have a successful business? So this will be the summary of what we will discuss today. Okay, ladies, is managing a business like building a business? I have here Fatma Shabib. Fatma, do you agree or do you think they are the same, or what's your view on that? Fatma, are you with us? So until Fatma responds, Leslie says it depends. Mariam says not necessarily. So I will choose another person. Fatma doesn't want to answer. Amal, you were with us yesterday. What are your views on this?
Hello.
Hello, Amal.
Hi. Sometimes you can manage your business. Sometimes you can't. You have to hire someone to do it. Sometimes you have an idea and you just bring it to life, but you can't deal with people. Like you're not social person. Sometimes you are a social person, but you don't have the idea or you don't have the skills to start up a business. So it depends on your personality and how you are managing things with people, because I think that business, like half of the business is the social networking you're going to create after launching your business. So it depends on the person and his personalities. Hello.
Hey everyone, شكل زهراء got disconnected, so just wait a few more minutes.
Oh, okay.
So while we're waiting for it to come back, I just wanted to remind you guys that we do have mentorship sessions with Zahra that you can book. It's a first come, first serve basis. All you need to do is send an email at workshops@startupmagazine.com and yeah, and she's back.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong today. Yesterday, the internet was excellent, but I really don't know what's going on. I don't want to blame Betelco. So I am very sorry, Amal. I didn't hear what he said. But I think you said somebody who can build a business can still manage the business. I agree with you. But again, as I said, from experience, I have seen people who had amazing ideas. They've had that right entrepreneurial idea to run a business, to build a business, but then they failed because they didn't have the right management skills. They didn't have the experience to manage a business, and they didn't really know how to manage a business. So because of that, I personally think that it's not necessary that if you know how to build a business, you can manage, but it's not impossible. There are ways to make you, there are people who you can bring to help you to manage your business. In my case, when I started Eventscom and then when I started FinMarks Communications, maybe because I have worked before that in a big corporate company, which was Arab Insurance Group for 4 years. And before that, when I was at university and when I was at school, every summer I used to volunteer and I used to work in a different organization. All this helped me to gain experience on how to manage teams, how to work with teams, how to manage people. So when I went to build my business, I had all these experiences. So I only applied whatever was applied on me and whatever I have learned. So one of the tips I always give when I go on NJAS, the sessions, or when I go to university, I always give the students this tip. Utilize every summer vacation, utilize every opportunity to go and work somewhere. And the reason, because you never know in the future if you decide to start your business or when you work somewhere, all these are like free training for you in order to learn how to manage your business. So this is very, very important. Anybody wants to share anything? I just want to know if I'm connected.
You're connected.
Alhamdulillah. So anybody wants to share anything or? And do you see my screen?
No.
Okay, it all got lost. So I need to, sorry for that. The internet today is just, I blame my sister who made me come to her house to, and she blames Batilko, so I don't know. Okay, I just want to share the screen again. I'm so sorry, ladies, for that. Share screen. Okay, what do you need to manage your business? You remember yesterday when we spoke about the research and we spoke about identifying the financial and non-financial resources, and we also spoke about how to put the team together. So let's say that mainly this workshop is for people who are starting a business. So we need to minimize the cost as much as we can. Some people, when they start a business, immediately they go and hire people without thinking, will I make money in the coming 6 months or 1 year? So you really need to be realistic, and you need to think with minimum resources, what do you need to manage your business? Again, talking about myself, when I started both companies, my business was purely depending on service. So I knew that what I needed was a couple of PCs. I knew that I needed administration people to help me for a simple reason. Yes, I'm excellent in organizing, putting the idea, having the network, but I know my weakness when it comes to the administrative work, which is like doing Word documents or PowerPoint. So I identified that weakness and I put it in the structure which I created for myself. I spoke yesterday that from beginning, I knew that I need to outsource the accounting. I didn't want to have, I wanted to reduce the overhead, because once you hire people, this is an overhead. You will have the go-see and they are khalas. You cannot, in the middle of the way, tell them, oh, I don't need you. But once you outsource and once you start using part-timers and interns, this all depends on how your business grows. So each one of you need to identify what you need really to manage your business. Managing your business, you might need human resources and you might need systems. Some of you here talk about having digital platforms. Ida spoke that she discovered yesterday that for her business, she will need to digitalize it. She's in skincare. So depending on all your needs, you identify what you need to manage your business. Again, it's not only about human resources, it's also about having non-human resources, equipments, maybe network, website. All these are the things that you need to manage your business. Anybody wants to share her thought on that?
Can I share?
Yes, please, Mariam, go ahead.
Okay. So I have a problem with managing, not because I don't know how to do it, but I rather do other things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, social marketing, social media marketing. I don't like social media as a rule. I don't like it. I don't like to post. I don't like that. It's not that I can't. So I tried other ways to automate it.
So you
And
thought of other resources of automating it. So you identified what you need to manage your business.
yes, so
Okay.
I batch things and I automate it and I just let it be.
Okay, that's interesting. Fatima says that teams always beat individuals. I totally agree. وبالعربي اليد الواحدة ما تصفق. But sometimes we are restricted with budgets, right? So Mariam has a good positive experience that she knew there are certain things she knows how to do, but she doesn't want to spend time on that. And this is a very valuable message. So
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello.
Hey everyone, Zahra is just reconnecting.
I thought I'm alone.
Ladies, I'm so sorry. Now I changed the connection. It's very weird. I think it's Batilko. Can you hear me now? I'm so sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
I am so sorry again. It's... Anyway, let's smile. I like technology. خلاص, I have to be positive. I'm just trying to share my screen. So yes, I was saying that sometimes you have to also think and evaluate. Is it more cost effective if I bring somebody, an intern or a freelancer, or I outsource to do something which will save my time to generate more business? Some people don't think of it this way. Some people look at it, let me bring someone and pay him everything and I just watch what they do. Even if I know how to do it, it's easier for me. And they don't look at how much money they are spending on that. And some people, I don't remember who was it yesterday, they decide to do everything to save all the cost, but what they are ignoring the fact that they are not having the time to grow their business and to invest in it. So this is why it's very, very important to think about all that. When I started FinMarks Communications, I didn't invest much in digitalizing my business. And only when Corona happened, which was in March, I discovered that I have lost so many opportunities because of Corona, we decided that we need to review the ways how we manage our business, and we started being virtual more. It reduced a lot of costs, and all these things were available even before, but we never looked at them. So even companies who are successful, if they don't continuously do their research, they are stuck. So this is why you have to identify what you need to manage your business. And once you start your business, every 6 months, you have to identify, am I managing it right? If you're only a business owner, even if you are the manager of the business, and identify what are the areas you have to review. What are the essential roles you need to handle or have people to help to handle when you want to manage your business? I'll come to you, Zainab. You have been managing your business, which is the restaurant, for 10 years. And now you have two new startups, two or one. I'm not sure if you have two new startups or one of them. So you have the right experience to talk about this point. I just want to see your experience before I share mine.
For going using other resources, you mean?
Yeah, how did you identify in your business the avenue? And now when you're doing your startup, what are the essential roles you need to handle yourself? Because you said, I am like a babysitter, or have people to help to handle when you want to manage your business?
See, there are some people are better than me to do something. So what your job is as an owner of a business is to watch what the others are doing, who are working for you or who are working with you, and give and take the ideas, and then you will know if that person, she or he, is the right person for that job description or no. Even when, like for me, for the restaurant, I have example, I hire a waiter, but then I see the waiter, he's good at juice making or he's very good at coffee making. So I switch him to that station. So you have just to find the right
So don't
people.
you think you're taking the role of, yeah, but aren't you taking the role of a restaurant manager this way?
I have a restaurant manager, but I'm overviewing everything myself.
So what do you think that, like, were these essential roles you needed to hire people for, or you could have done it yourself?
What we say as a restaurantees, even if we bring example for chef, even if we bring the best chef in the market, we have to tell them what we want, not what he wants, because we know our market. It's if I'm going to bring someone from Europe, their food design, their food taste, their market segment is totally different than us.
Okay, so you need to be involved in whatever your team is doing.
Yes.
So Aida, I know that you are in the process of starting your business, and because your business is very interesting, have you thought what are the essential roles you need to once you build your business and خلاص it's there, what are the essential roles you need to hire or the roles that you need to handle? Have you thought of this process and have you identified them?
Yes, but to be honest, for the beginning as a startup, I thought that I should do everything and check what I will like and what not. Then I will decide. That's
Okay,
what
when
I'm
you
thinking
say
about.
I should do everything, have you listed what
Yeah.
is everything? Have you
Yeah.
listed all the roles?
Yes.
So
I should
you
have. Sorry, I didn't get you.
Have you listed all the roles you need to manage your business?
Yes, dear. I have listed them down, and also I make a consultation with some of my friends who have their business, and they also help me to know what I will gonna need. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Leslie, because you had different experiences yesterday you were sharing. So did you go through this process before you start your business, thinking what are the different roles and which roles you can handle and which roles you will need people to handle?
Yeah, well, to be very honest, when I started my business, I didn't go through this kind of process because, you know, when you're excited, you feel like you just want to do everything. But when you're in the business, then you will realize all the roles that's in there. So I assess myself, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and I have this principle that you have to focus on your strengths. You know, you don't need to work out on your weaknesses. Let the weaknesses be a weakness and give it to others. You know, you assess what you are good at and focus on that more, and you can be excellent in that. So I assess everything, and those the things that are my weaknesses, I delegate it. So I have this kind of system called eliminate, delegate, and automate. So whatever the thing I can do, I will do it, and the rest like administration and chat support, this one I cannot do. So I delegate it to someone, which is outsourcing, not in Bahrain because it's cheaper, you know that, rather than hiring someone in Bahrain. So I delegate that. And then automate, yeah, we have to use the technology around us. They're there for a reason. So I automate some of the things that I should not do. And actually, even the things that you think you can do, you don't need to do it as well. You know, if you can delegate it and focus on more important things. Yeah.
Excellent. I totally agree with both of you, Leslie and Aida. And from my experience, this is exactly what we have done. I sat down and I listed all the different things we need. And I thought these things I can do and these things I need to hire people. And as I said, as a startup, you always start with hiring interns and freelancers. This is my advice for you. And outsourcing, because you need to reduce your overhead. Does anyone know why I keep saying you need to reduce an overhead? Do you know what do I mean with overhead? Anybody wants to explain it? Yes, Leslie, you want to explain it?
Yeah, I think overhead these are the people you are paying. You know, these are expenses. It's called overheads.
Yes, because what happens, some people, when they're so excited, they just hire people and they give them full-time contracts. And then they start, yes, Zainab, the staff cost. And when the business starts, the first 4 or 5 months, there is no income, 6 months, no income, then you need to fire. And really firing people is very, very difficult. It's not only difficult, it's demotivating for you before the others, because you feel that, oh my God, I'm reducing the size. So that's why when you're doing it right from the beginning and you hire when you really know that, yes, it's a position where I can hire a full-time person, it's much better. Mariam has sent her contact for networking. So my other point, how to differentiate your role as an owner and a manager if you will be managing the business. Zainab, because I know you're managing your business and you're owning, so before I share my experience, can you tell me how are you managing that? Because you're the owner, so قلبك يحرقك على كل فلس, but at the same time, you're involved in the day-to-day management.
Yes, involved in day-to-day operation. And of course قلبي يحرقني مو على كل فلس, على كل غلطة يسوونها. Every mistake, it hurts you, especially when you get to train the staff train the staff correctly, and you see the same mistake as the second day and the third day, they continue doing the same mistakes. So, you know, the minor mistakes which happens is the one who keeps you down. It's not the major mistakes. Major mistakes you learn from. It's just the small
But
ones.
how do you differentiate your role? Like, let's say you're at the restaurant, and because I know you are working with the restaurant as well.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate and you remind yourself, I'm here to help manage the business. I take responsibility as well.
Yeah. At the beginning, when you start up your business, you have to be involved in every single thing. But once the operation is smooth and going and you have delegated the job to everybody, you have to supervise what everybody's doing. But then now, after 10 years, I have a manager to do that for me. I supervise the manager himself and the chef, and they do the needful. So I don't get involved with the junior staff anymore. I get involved with them, but not as much as before. But at the beginning, I used to help them out a lot. I used to be the waiter, I used to be the cook, I used to go to the market and get the supplies. I used to contact the suppliers. I did everything myself. I learned it all.
Yeah, that's when you're a startup.
I learned it all because I did it myself. So now when somebody comes and tell you, Madam, this cannot be happen. Madam, the price of this became more expensive. I tell him, no, I know the supplier. I know the prices. I know my items. I know everything. So it's in my head, you know.
Zainab is a good example of a business which started 10 years ago. So it's no longer a startup, but she has a couple of new startups. So the message over here, when you only own a business and you've built it and you are no longer involved in the management, you're away, but you will only receive the income and outcome. But when you are managing the business, you need to take responsibility. You need to forget that you are the owner because you are part of the team. Any mistake as a manager, you should take the responsibility for. Many people forget that. They think because they are owners, they are not responsible even if they are manager. I am working as a managing director in my company. I have a salary from day one. If there is any mistake, I don't only go and blame my team. First, I think, how did I train them? What mistake did I do? And I acknowledge it. Sometimes maybe I didn't do the mistake. They didn't do their job right. So this is how you differentiate. You do not act as an owner. You act as a leader. I will not call it a manager. If you own your business and you are part of the management, you are leading by example. Do you agree with me on that? Hello? I just want to know if I'm on.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, because I don't trust the internet anymore. So I need to see if I'm talking to you ladies or not. Okay, can anyone here talk about corporate governance? What's corporate governance? Anybody knows that? Anybody heard this term? No? So big companies, this is a term for big companies, for banks, that there are rules that is governing that organization. If you are the general manager or if you are a board member, that doesn't mean you have all the right to do things without approvals, without permissions, to withdraw money. It's very deep. I will send you about that. So when I was thinking of this workshop, and I was thinking of myself, I said, okay, yes, I own 50%, my business partner owns 50%. In my previous company, where I had another business partner, I never thought of corporate governance. I never thought of questioning my partner when he wants to withdraw money or when he wants to change policies or when he wants to fire. There were no rules because he was the majority shareholder. I thought he can do anything he wants. When we started our company, FinMark, from day one, we put rules, and these rules are governing us even if we're owners. Even if I own 50%, I cannot take an action without having a reason and without having an approval of my business partner. This is not a must, but many startups don't think of that. Whether you have a partner or if you don't have a partner. Let's assume you don't have a partner and you started your business. You should Really be your own governor. Am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the money at the right time? Am I putting the right justification when I want to withdraw money? Am I putting the right systems? How many of you think of that? To ask yourself and to be the judge of yourself and to control yourself. Yesterday, one of the ladies here, she said, I don't remember who she was, herself and her brother together tried to open a cafe, and then they knew that the CR was not, they couldn't get the CR and they lost all their money. I don't remember who she was. When you were doing that, were you putting rules and were you following these rules? Anybody can share her experience, not necessarily the lady who spoke about her yesterday.
I would like to share my experience.
Yes,
I'm
please.
Mariam,
And
by
then
the
we
way.
will hear from Amal. تفضلي مريم.
Okay. My partner, as I said before, she was bad with money. When I said that, I meant that she overspent, and we were 50-50 shareholders. So she went and spent stuff and kept buying and buying and buying. And when I told her we are above budget, she flew off the handle. She said, if you don't have money, you shouldn't have opened the business. So I wish I had some kind of rules to tell her, okay, we have to draft whatever we're going to buy, and anything extra is out of your own pocket. It's not included. I wish I would have done that. I have done
Inshallah,
that.
you will do it for your next business. But now I want to go to Farah. Farah, you're a banker, and now you have started your business. So, did you consider this corporate governance for your startup? And can you explain to the ladies, because you know more than me how to explain it?
Hi, I just joined your Zoom because I'm still at work.
Okay, يعطيك العافية. The slide was about importance of corporate governance for startups and do we need it? So the ladies, they need somebody to explain to them what's corporate governance in the technical words. And are you applying it for your new startup?
Not really.
Wow, nice معونج. How many years of banking, my sir? Do you think it's important?
It is important, yes.
Why?
You need to know the rules and regulations for your startup. You need to know what are the rules for actually to open a business, and you need to know all these rules that are actually required to have a business.
So let's say you have now your own business, and then suddenly you decide that this month I have done so much good, I want to take money from the business without going through the right, like having a resolution and all the things that startups don't do it. Do you think it's right? Do you think startups need to have all these boundaries for themselves from day one in order to be sustainable?
Yes, they do. They need to have that startups, and you have to have a reserve as well.
Okay.
So whatever you get, like if you got a profit in the business, you have to keep it as a reserve. As you said, like you don't know what future will is hiding for you. You know, so you have to have a reserve. So it's very important regarding that point.
Exactly. Amal, I'll go to you because you said that yourself and your brother, you spent all this money and time, and after you did all that, you discovered that you cannot start your business. So from day one, did you put certain rules between yourself and your brother on how to manage the business? What is the شنو حدود كل واحد?
Yeah, actually, the story behind our shop was that we had another shop. It was a print shop, actually. We had a print shop in the same street, but like 300 or 400 meters قدام. And then we had a partner with us who supposed to be like a really close friend. What he did, I traveled to Australia for. Hello, are you still there?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm still here.
I traveled to Australia to have a course, and my brother was working in Saudi. So he was alone here. What he did, he changed the CR, he took another name, he took the shop, he changed the agreement because it was already خلاص يعني we should renew it. So he changed everything to his name. He took all the money and he didn't say anything. When we came back, we were surprised. It's no more our shop. So what he did, he brought a very big 6-wheel. He kept all our things in this car and he sent it to our house. So this was a big loss. But after 3 months, we decided we want to have our own shop again because we have a name in the market. So what we did, we took a shop in the same street, but a bit يعني inside. We didn't know that when we took that shop, we didn't know that they changed the rules, that print shops with certain printing equipment should go to industrial area. Okay, and then we expanded our idea because I went to Australia and I saw some ideas there and I wanted to do it as a craft and print shop. So because we were printing by hand. So what happened is that I can't go to industrial area and my brother cannot stay in the shop for the whole day because he's working. So we closed after spending money for around 4 to 6 months. We spent a lot, like I spent all my saving actually. I have only 1,000 left. So it was big shock for me and for my brother. And then, okay, he said he's not going to do any business anymore, but I'm still willing to have my own business. I really want to, it's my passion. So yeah, it was important for us to update our knowledge, and we should have asked. Like my mother was telling us to do some researches, but we didn't listen to her. And yeah, it was a mistake, but I learned from it. Thank you for listening.
So I will do one thing. It's very, very important. This is an advice for all of you to read about what is corporate governance. I will share with you some things through Janan. Read about it and please apply what you read when it comes for your work on your business, because it will help you a lot. I'll go to the next. Can you see my slides, ladies? Can you see my slides? Yes, okay. Again, I'm so sorry on behalf of Betelco for all this mess. I'm just trying to go to the slide I was in. What are the challenges you might face when you are managing a business? It's totally different than the challenges when you are building a business. Because when you are managing a business, khalas, it's your baby. And anything goes wrong, it will hurt you because it's like you're, as Ziba said or Zainab said, it's like babysitting. Anything goes wrong, you will really feel like, oh my God. So challenges will be a lot. Trust me, the challenges facing you managing a business, they are much more than the challenges building a business. Because you need to be sure that everything is going right. You need to make sure that you have the human resources. You need to motivate your team. You need to be updated. You need to make sure that there is the right fund. So it's all, but it's, for me, it's enjoyable. How many of you enjoy managing your business, and how many of you find that really challenging and don't like it? Zainab, me, you enjoy? Mariam loves management. Amal loves it. Who wants to speak about it? Why, Marwa, why are you scared? And I like Isra being honest. I have the patience for it. I don't have the patience. Yes, if you don't have the patience for it, you cannot manage a business. I'm telling you. You need to be passionate and you have to have the patience. Otherwise, it will all collapse. Anybody wants to speak and share her views on the challenges she thinks she might face when she starts her business, or she faced when she started her business? Harsha, you're enjoying. Can you share with us, Harsha, please? Now, if none of you speak, I won't know if I'm connected or not.
I think since no one is talking, I will talk.
Thank you.
uh, right now, I have been a manager and a coordinator before, so I like to manage. But the hardship I'm facing now is that it's all me. So
Okay.
yes, so that's why I've been looking at different alternatives. But it is different when you are doing it for your own business, because you really, when you're an employee, you don't think that if it's a mistake, then it's a mistake. But when you own the business, if it's a mistake, you feel like your heart is dropping, and what is going to happen, and the future of the business, and the revenue, and the bank account. I didn't think that it will hit this hard.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Since Sulaf just joined us, Sulaf, thank you, Mariam, for sharing your interesting views. Sulaf, you can unmute yourself if you want. You haven't managed your business, but I know that, mashallah, you have worked in many organizations. At the beginning of this session today, I said what helped me to manage my business is that I worked for big corporates and I learned a lot. So now I'm applying whatever was applied on me. Do you think if you start your business, all these skills you have learned, you will be able to apply them if you decide to manage your business yourself on the different either team members or even the resources? How do you unmute? You just press the microphone, the red one.
I saw it. Hi.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Zahra. Sorry, I was fiddling with it, trying to figure it out. I think for me, the biggest challenge when I confront a problem is I go into overdrive trying to figure out how to fix it. I'm a fixer by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And having worked, I'm 50 now, I've been working most of my life since I was 18. And I've worked in a variety of fields. And so the challenges are always different. But the one constant has been how to fix it, how to solve it, whether it's a people problem or it's more of a technical issue. And that's what I enjoy. Would I bring this to my own business? Absolutely. This is why I'm excited about starting my own business. I think what's driving me is that I've done this for so long for other people. And so it's about time I did it for myself. I don't know if that answers the question you were
No, it does
asking.
answer. Yes, it does answer, because I was telling the ladies earlier that I am like you since I was like very young. I started working, and then this is why when I started establishing two businesses, I was just applying whatever was applied on me and whatever I was trained to do. So it was really, I enjoy it. It's challenging, but I enjoy it. Do you think that, because you were not here earlier, I just want to see your views on that, because you have all this amazing experience.
Thank you.
Do you think that the same person who builds the business can manage it? You can do both? Or do you think each one needs certain skills?
I think each one, I don't know if this is true, but I always felt that you do need different skills, a different skill set for building one. And that's where my lack of confidence and my fear kicks in, that I've never started anything for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my biggest challenge. The starting of the business is my challenge. Sustaining the motivation while you're building. That's the unknown for me. Running it, once it's up and running, doesn't scare me as much, because I see it as a series of challenges, and I just take each one as it comes and I work my way through it. But I definitely see it as different skill sets.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And this is what we said at the beginning as well. I think it's totally a skill set. That doesn't mean somebody's better than the other person, but some people can do both. Some people can only build a business. They are really good into that. But some people can also manage their business. So you really need to identify from the beginning what are the set of skills you need either when you want to build a business and then when you want to manage, and then identify شنو الناقص, what's missing, and fill it. So I totally agree with you. One of the ladies here, Ruwaida, she's saying dealing with men. Did anyone face a problem dealing with them? Personally, I always felt that it was a blessing that I'm a woman. I never faced any problem. You put your boundaries and that's it. It's only when you think you're a problem. This is the real challenge, to be very honest. We are 4 sisters. We are all in different fields. And I don't think any one of us faced a problem dealing with men. Again, from my experience, when I see people, I think it's once you feel that, oh, because I'm a woman and he's a man, you're putting this challenge, you're putting this elephant, and this is why you cannot go forward. So before I let Marwa comment, I will just say that when we go to the challenges, I loved one thing Sulaf said, you take a problem at a time. Every challenge comes, you sit and you think. Of course, you need to be frustrated. It's a normal feeling. You will feel demotivated, but then you just sit and analyze it and think, okay, how can I go to the next step? It's like exactly when you're driving a car and you see a mountain, you have 2 options. You go backward, you hit the mountain, or you find a way to go around it. So this is exactly what happens when you're managing your business or even building your business. Marwa, you wanted to comment? Please go ahead.
Hello, dears. Good evening. I'm so sorry. I think I am late or something today because it's said that it's 6:30. So I'm so sorry for my late join. Regarding 2 points, the first one, why am I scared into this business world? I'm from engineering department. Suddenly I'm turned into something new. It's like a challenge for me. I'm learning new stuff. I'm working on my business plan. As you told us, this lovely homework, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of weird. And I don't know, I think I need the right help. There's a lot of resources in the internet, like how to create a business plan, and there are some time and money and stuff that are not going to benefit me. Like things are tricky. The world is, this digital world is kind of tricky. You don't know what's right from wrong sometimes. It's misleading. So that's one point. And the second point regarding men, I don't find any problem with me dealing with them. Since I was in young age, I had to deal with them in several courses and public speaking courses. I've been admitted to that. And even in university, when things were, I'm a graduate from governmental school, you know how girls and boys are separated. The ladies felt very shy. But for me, no, I was the first one to come and raise my hand against them, or talk to them. They were like the public speaker. So there's not much, it needs a little bit courage and get out your comfort zone so you can reach something.
Anyone here from the ladies found the problem
But
dealing
it's fine. We are all the same.
We are all the same. So since my experience and your experience are positive, anyone here find it a challenge? Leslie, share with us why it's a challenge.
Yes, dear. Actually, you might find it funny because, or maybe you don't know, I'm a Filipino, okay? But I'm married to Bahraini. So then and now I encounter some difficulties in this because some people, they want to like partner with me in some projects, but in order for me to avoid this kind of issues with my husband, I prefer not to, you know? So there are some opportunities that I let it go because I know that if I go ahead with it, there might be a problem in the future. So I try to avoid this kind of situation. So it's better not to have, you know, this issue. That's my challenge.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Leslie, you made me think of, now I'm thinking. I think men actually found it challenging to have a woman manager sometimes in my field. We are in public relation and in events management. you need to be really a multitask person to do that. And I always say men are very good. They're so accurate. They're good for certain sectors. But when it comes to multitasking, min Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God created us to be multitask. So maybe here is the challenge, how to find this balance. I have been having my business since 2002 until today. And all the time I have women employees. Men cannot survive with me. I don't know if I'm the problem or the sector is the problem, but I never had a problem with them. So now when we are speaking, this made me think, maybe when it comes to the management, it's about the way you're managing. They are having sometimes a problem with you. And Leslie, I think you should look at, once you look at it as a problem, you will always think, oh, maybe they are talking to me because they want something. You just have to remove all that. Business is business.
Yeah,
Farah,
I totally understand.
yeah, I like what Farah is saying because she's from my generation as well. She finds it difficult to deal with men. She doesn't find it, although she's heading 6 men at her work. Allah ya'inhum. Let's see, Farah, when you're heading 6 men at your startup. It's different. Because
Really?
there are HR department, there are rules in a bank, you know, it's different. But when you have your startup and you're the owner and you're the manager and you're the woman, and having men, you need to manage them in certain fields. Now, alhamdulillah, in your startup, you will never have to manage a man.
I will never have to manage men.
Yes.
I will be dealing with women all the time.
But I will go to Sulaf. Sulaf, you come from, again, I'm using you a lot, Sulaf, because of your depth of experience, you know, and
Oh,
we all
thank you.
want to learn from you. You're working currently, I will not say where, but in a sensitive place where it's dominated by men. Do you think if you start a business related to the sector you're in, you will find difficulties, or men will find difficulties dealing with you?
If I started it in this sector that I'm currently working in, yes, primarily because I'm in an executive management position. I don't have the academic background in the field that I'm in. My background is in engineering, and I have an MBA. But so in terms of that, I will not feel confident to work in this sector.
Mm-hmm.
However, working with men, not all of them, but some of them, now I don't have a problem with men, but sometimes I find that maybe because I'm a woman, there's this element of me having to prove myself that much more than if I was a man. They are paternal to a point, like they want to take care of you, to the point that I find it a bit patronizing. They don't take your ideas as seriously. Now, that hasn't been the case in a lot of sectors that I've worked in, but this one predominantly, because it's quite patriarchal and it's quite male dominated, especially at the top. Yeah, there is that bit where the women can be the administrative part. They can be, they can do the marketing. There are certain roles that women can fulfill, and that is in the minds of men. That is not the reality, and that's not what I believe. But when it comes to, you know, serious leadership and big decision making, I find that they trust each other. The men trust each other a great deal more, and we have to prove ourselves that much more.
Wow.
That's been my experience. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that's very useful, because I always had positive experience, except like when managing. But this is why I wanted to hear from you, because you are in a much more complicated or complex sector. So let's go to the next. What skills do you need to have to manage your business? Many skills, trust me. From the skill of, again, I'm speaking purely from my perspective, managing 2 startups. And I think I only succeeded because I had these skills, but other people might have different experiences. I had when I started first EventsCom, I had the skills of managing people, because what I was doing was purely having people around me and managing not only my team, but even managing my clients. So if I didn't have this skill of managing people, and I think in not only me, anybody who wants to manage a startup and who decide that they built it and they want to manage it, if you do not have the people skill, I think you will find a lot of challenges to face, and you will need to really develop the skill. Another skill which I find it very, very, very important, leadership skills. I'm sure all of you have seen different quotes and different images about a true leader. I really believe a true leader is the person who leads by example, who is part of the team he or she is working with, and who accept to take the responsibility. You cannot just dump it on people. When I was 17 years old, I worked for a small company during the summer. I needed to make money to get my driving license. So this guy, Allah yarhamah yani. So every time he had like 5, 6 people working for him, and they were all junior. They were much older than me. They were in their 30s and in their 20s. And I was a 17 years old who wanted to earn her 150 BD. So every time he did something and a client comes and shouts at him, what he would do, he will bring one of his staff and scream at the staff and point at the staff, and in front of the clients, he will make the staff like that employee did the mistake. And maybe that employee did the mistake. I won't say no, but you have signed on that, you know? Until one day, miskeen, yani Allah yarhamah, he didn't find any new employee, he found me. So he called me in his office and he started screaming at me in front of the client, and he blamed me for doing some mistakes, which I don't even remember what the mistake was. And I think the guy was so shocked because I looked at him and I said, who signed the papers? Didn't you sign the papers? Even if I prepared them, couldn't you check what I have? And he looked at me and he's like, I am here the boss. I own the business. You do it the right way. I said, yeah, but you are managing me. And thank God he didn't fire me because he knew my family. But what I learned that day, if you are a manager, even if you own your business, definitely, no, I didn't cry, Isra. I cried maybe at home, but not in front of him. Definitely you need to admit that it's your mistake. So this is my advice for all of you when you want to start your business. Do not blame the system. Yes, I was blaming Batirko now because of the connection, but it's really out of my hand. Do not blame the system. Do not blame your employee. First, look at yourself. Did I do it right? Did I give them the right direction? Did I check on their work? Did I do my homework right? Once you do this tick, 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 this is one of the skills you need, you know? Then you go and you speak to your staff. Social intelligence and emotional intelligence is very, very important skill to manage your business. At the end of the day, one of you, I don't remember who said, teamwork is very important. You cannot work as an individual. Even if your team are freelancers or interns or consultants, you need to know how to have the social intelligence and emotional intelligence to make sure that you can grab their attention and they can share. Remember, whether we like it or not, even if you are very down to earth, they will still look at you as their boss or as the owner of the business. And many of them will not have this direct communication. Not everybody will have this direct communication to share what they feel. You need to have this skill. You need to build this relation, because I will go back to what Zainab said. You are babysitting this business, and number two, because you're managing this business. Even if you're only a manager, if it's not your own business, you have to have these skills. Another skill is teamwork, leadership skills, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, networking skills. You need to be able to network with everyone. People who are working for you, people you are working for, who are your clients, because you work for your clients at the end of the day, and people around you. If you don't have this networking skill, you will not really succeed to smartly build and manage your business. Leslie had a bad experience, but before Leslie, Najma, do you want to share with us what do you mean with egoistic bosses? You can unmute yourself if you want to share. If you don't want to share, just tell me no, so I know that you can hear me. لأن في علامات في النهاية. ها؟
Hello, hi everybody. I was quite silent since yesterday. Thank you for all this information. It was very useful. By egoistic bosses, I meant, hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. By egoistic bosses, I meant fee bosses, they don't let their ego go down, you know. I've gone through such an experience that ego matters for them a lot. You know, this is the way I have, it has to be done. You are giving some options. These are other ways to get things done. And he's still stubborn because he has his own ego. And he says, no, this is my way. And that's it. There is no this is my way or there is no way. Yeah, or the highway, yeah.
I like, you know what, thank you for mentioning that, because even as an owner and as a manager, once you have this, it's my way or no way, it's not possible. Yes,
exactly.
Sometimes, and this happened to me, what I do, because, you know, I bring lots of young people. When I hear them criticize, I tell them, okay, this is the way we have put. And I had this very interesting and funny experience. So I got this very smart intern and we hired him. And he used to, imagine, I have this 10 years experience and this guy is just graduated from university and he used to criticize everything. So I was like, okay, I have two things. One thing, I just tell him, you know what, just do your work and do whatever I gave you and do not argue. But I needed to work on it in a smart way. So I brought him once to my office and I told him, thank you very much. I love it when you're giving us your opinion. Can you go home and come back and tell me how do we have to do it? And he looked at me, he said, what do you mean? I said, you've been criticizing that we should not do this survey this way and we should not send out this press release this way. And maybe you're right. But I really need to know what is the way we need to do it so we can follow you. And I told them, I'm giving you, I remember it was a Wednesday. I told them, go home, you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, we will have a team meeting and we want you to present what is the way where you think it is right, because you have fresh eyes. On Sunday morning, this guy came and it was different. He had the ego problem, not me, although it's my business, I'm
yeah.
So, and I wanted to teach him a lesson because I was like, I felt bad that he's a young Bahraini. He's very, very, very smart. He's only 19. He thinks he knows it all. This guy, once he goes and work, they will kick him out from day one. You know, not everybody will just keep him. So he came on Sunday morning and he's like, okay, I analyzed. And it's not only, I only want to say that we can do it at this time. He had no point. And I looked at him and I told him, thank you, but this is a tip for you. It's easy to criticize. It's easy to say everything is wrong. And it's very easy for me to tell you, just do it the way I want because I'm paying your salary. But I will never say that because we are one team. I wanted to hear what are the different things. And I always tell my team until today, if you find a different way, tell me. Because you might think you have fresh eyes, but don't just criticize, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's very good point. You know, don't criticize. Say it in option 1, option 2. You like it or you don't like it.
You know,
there is yes or no. Yeah.
Yes. I'm talking to you now, and I think this is a skill because it's not always easy not to criticize. Even as an owner or a business manager or working somewhere, because the easiest thing is to criticize. So the skill of having a constructive comment is very, very important. So when you're managing your business, whatever your business is, whether it's a restaurant like what Zainab is doing, or a hair salon, or a digital platform, before you go and see what went wrong, analyze it, think about it, and then go and raise the point in a positive way. These are all skills. Are there any skills that I am missing? I'm sure because I cannot put all the skills. Anybody wants to share something, a skill where you think you need to manage your business? I have a question. Sulaf, I'll go back to you. You said if you want to start your business and maybe you will not have the academic, because I'm an engineer like you, and you don't
Yes, I
have,
know.
yeah. So let's say Sulaf is starting, you are thinking of a certain startup and you do not have the academic background. Do you consider this as a lack of skill?
In certain technical fields, yes. In the
Okay.
field I'm in, because you need certain technical skills that I don't possess, yes. My startup is in a totally different field. It's in the artistic field, and I don't have any academic qualifications for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't
But
consider it. Sorry?
Do you think it's something, don't you think this is something, I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning when we were talking about what.
I wasn't. I checked in at 6:30. Sorry, I thought it started at 6:30.
No, it's okay, because one of the things we spoke at the beginning of this session was identifying which roles you need, which roles you can handle to manage a business and which roles you need to have support with. So do you really think it will matter if, like, I am in public relation and communication and events. I have never studied. I've never even done business. I've done engineering and insurance, but I never found that this is a skill I needed and I don't have. When it came to technical matters like content and copywriting, for example, which I am not good at, I outsource, or now, for example, we have our copywriter. So I didn't consider it a skill that I lack. I'm in this qualification. Do you agree?
No, in that I absolutely agree. Yes. I mean, if you don't necessarily need to have the technical skill in order to run a business in that field. If you're prepared to outsource stuff, absolutely. I suppose for me, it's also the passion. You know, I have more of a passion for the creative arts than I would for technical matters, even though I am an engineer. but it's also a matter of passion. So that part, that eye for art, I wouldn't outsource. I would sort of, it would be my passion to select and to curate the art for the platform. Whereas in the field I'm in now, because it's a technical field, sure, I can hire people to help me do it, but the passion isn't there. If I had a passion for it, certainly it's not a setback at all.
I totally agree. So what like all of us, we're agreeing that when you want to start a business, even if you don't have the technical skill, you can always have technical people who can help you. However, the passion, the leadership, flexibility, patience, all the things I'm reading what Mariam had wrote, the change and adapt, all these are the skills where you really need to have more than the technical part. So I'll go to the next slide. How often and how to evaluate your business? Anybody wants to speak or I choose? ما حد يبي يتكلم, I choose? Okay, the reason I will choose Zainab, because Zainab she has her business for 10 years now. Zainab, how often are you evaluating your business?
Hi. Well, every month. Every month I do.
When you say you're evaluating,
and every 3 years, you have to do the major changes in your business. Because business is like fashion. Business is like fashion. It will change quickly. You have to change. You have to be up in the market for the changes.
So when I say evaluate, what do you like? How do you evaluate? What are the things you evaluate in your business every month?
On monthly basis, I evaluate the product, what is moving, what is not moving, and evaluate the time, example, for my product to be produced and to reach the customer, evaluate the expenses, evaluate the income, is everything together, evaluate the marketing strategy, it's all together.
You evaluate your marketing strategy?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So the reason I wanted Zainab to share her views because she has also a 10 years business and she has a couple of other new startups. Well, personally, yesterday when we were speaking about the blueprints and about putting the vision and mission and about putting our all our goals, when you are a startup, I think it's very important that you, once you start, of course, the monthly and the weekly, looking at the statements and the balance statements, this is something we always have to do. But when I talk about evaluation, I meant more evaluating your strategy, if it's going right or not, evaluating your vision and mission, if it's really going into the right direction. I think as a startup at the beginning, you have to do it every quarter. Why I'm saying every quarter? Because you need to make sure, it's like, you know, when you're starting anything, you need to make sure you are not going into the wrong direction. Every month, it's too soon. But every quarter, at least you have the time to see how this business is going forward. So I am referring here on evaluating your blueprint, on evaluating your vision, mission. Are you really tapping into the right target audience? Are you really giving the right messages? The reason we offered yesterday that the winner will get a 6 months strategy plan for PR, because definitely a minimum of 6 months you need in order to know if you're going into the right direction. If you evaluate every month, لا تضحكون. It's like you're checking the scale for your weight every day. So you become demotivated. How many of you does that when you start a diet? So if you do it every day, you will never know, you will never focus, right? However, if you put a goal that after 3 months, I want to see if I'm following the right health diet, the right fitness, and do I need to change it? This is how you will see a sustainable change. Again, we are talking about sustainability. We're going into our engineering, we're talking about foundation stones. We need to make sure you cannot just work without checking if you have put the right foundation for your building. You need to see how strong it is. Of course, as you go forward, you will need it less. You cannot do it every 3 months. Once you are established startup and once you know that you are in the right direction, you will need to do it every 6 months. Some companies will need to do it every year. I'm not referring here to the income statements or the quality assurance. That's a different thing. I'm thinking of a general strategy. You cannot change it every day, but as a startup, personally, I think the first 3 months, you really need to check it. And then after 3 months, you need to check it and you need to do the right adjustments. Somebody, Esra wanted to comment. Oh, you always commit. I thought you want to comment. Okay. Commit to what, Esra? To your diet. Well, then you need to give us a session. I commit as well when I decide. But deciding is, it's like building the business. Starting is very difficult. But once I start, I follow it. So this is why I believe that from the beginning, when you have your blueprint ready, and whatever we discussed yesterday, you make them all ready. And once you start your business and you manage it, you need to review everything, your management style, your team, how things are going. Am I managing it in the right way? Am I using the right tools? Am I being updated with what's happening? With technology, every day there is a new thing, right? So you really need to evaluate, am I applying the right management style, the right technology, the right tools to my startup in order? Many people forget about that. Then once they start their business, they forget everything. They don't have time. They cannot balance. And it happens to all of us. But we need to wake up and remember, oh my God, no, I need to go one step backward and I need to start my evaluation and I need to have this one day only for myself. If I have a partner with my business partner, if I have an advisor or a mentor with my mentor, just to make sure I'm going into the right direction. Any comment on that before I go to the next slide? Anybody wants to share anything? اليوم, you're not as active as yesterday. Okay, if the business is not going into the planned direction, and I'm sure most of you who started your business in 2020 or who started your business before 2020, suddenly in March, something happened and it's not going into the planned direction. How did you react? Anybody wants to share before I share? So I'll tell you what happened to me. As I told you yesterday, when 2020 started, everybody had like, yes, 2020 will be an amazing year. I had this feeling that something will go wrong. So when March happened, all our events were canceled for this year, and we had so many amazing events in the pipeline. Our events were canceled. We didn't know our PR clients will renew their retainer, so we didn't know if we will have the same income. It was a shock for everyone. So I remember what I did that day. I just sat down. One night I was depressed. I have to be honest. Yes, one night I was depressed. I saw that, oh my God, how will we survive? But then next day, I heard my eldest sister speaking. Her name is Dr. Naima Al-Qasir, and she had a meeting with the Obai Women's Society. It's one of the oldest women's societies in Bahrain. They were so depressed, the ladies, they're all in their late 60s. They were waiting for 2020 because on 26th of March, they were going to do a big celebration for their 50th anniversary, which is a big milestone, not only for them, not only for Bahrain, for the Gulf region, and for the Middle East, to have a women's society who has been this successful for 50 years. So Naima was telling me that, oh my God, they were all depressed that their event will be canceled. And a flash came into my mind. I was like, now I know how to react. I told them, don't tell them not to be depressed. At that time, I never ever did a virtual event in my life, nor attended one, because I don't like virtual events. So I said, let me sit and meet with them. My direction and how to react was based on their needs. I went to them, they all looked at me, and I said, let's do a virtual event. And they all, of course, looked at me and they thought this woman is crazy. And they thought, by the way, that I was really so good in virtual events and in technical matters. And they said, no, 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 we will delay it until October. I said, you don't know what will happen in October. Give me the opportunity. I will not charge you anything. I will be your sponsor. And I will make sure. And they said, it's only 2 weeks from now. I said, I will not only make it a successful event, you were going to do an event in Bahrain only for a limited number of people. I will make it for you a regional event. And of course they couldn't, they just, I think they wanted mujamalatan to say, okay, you do it. And then I went home, I was like, what the hell did I do? I don't even know how to do it. But I had my nephew who was studying IT, and he came from Oman because he has no work. He didn't have university. And I told them, let's take the challenge. We did our research. I told them, this is how we want to react. We need to change our direction. Physical events definitely will not happen in 2020. And by the way, by that time, there was no lockdown yet. People were still talking about what will happen. I told them, and this is our way to change our direction. And we need to make this event a big success for them, for Bahrain, and for us. And it was such a successful event. We had 500 participants. I had speakers. I managed to convince speakers from big United Nations, from Akfa Fund, from Egypt. All of them attended. I moderated the session. I don't know how. So this reaction, finding a solution, is what made me go into virtual events. And after that, I started charging companies for virtual events. And at that time, nobody was doing virtual events. I'm talking about April and May. Now I stopped doing virtual events because it became, now when a client comes to me and wants a virtual event, I tell them, people are fed up. Virtual meetings, virtual schoolings, virtual workshops. Nobody wants, now I'm changing the direction again. I am reacting again because I need to be fast and reacting, you know? So this is what you have to do when sometimes there is force majeure. Things happens to change your plan direction. I chose Corona because we are all of us, whether a startup or an existing business or even individual, even personal direction had to change. So some people went back and just قعدوا يندبون حظهم and they were waiting for the pandemic to be over. Nobody expected it to be this long, and it will be longer. Some people, and this is what will make you sustain and go forward, thought, okay, this is my opportunity. I need to react fast. I need to change my plan direction. Sometimes you don't need a pandemic to have that. Sometimes other things happen that you need to change your direction. So be upset for a few hours, and this is what happens to me. Sometimes, yes, I go down. I'm not always inspirational. I have those moments of like, oh my God. But then I just wake up and I'm like, you know what? God is putting me into that situation because there is something bigger. So this is what you have. This was my story. I know a couple of successful stories over here, but before I ask them to share, anybody wants to share? Any planned direction you had and suddenly you had to change, and how did you react? If your business is not going into the right direction? Yes, I agree with you, Isra. Every bad situation is an opportunity. عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم.
Hi.
Hi, Mariam. Tell us.
Yes. Actually, okay. I know it might be very bad to say this.
No, it's
but,
nothing is. Tell us.
Yes, but Corona is to me is more opportunity than opportunity gained than opportunity lost.
Totally agree with you.
Yes, because my whole business is about going online, and and now everyone is forced to go online, and now it is the best time to invest in an online platform or a website. Things that businesses like Ajib Store has now a website. I was so surprised. So actually, this made me more excited to go forward with my business. It was an idea for a very long time, and now when it happened, I was like, okay, this is perfect.
So I totally, I always say people who were in digital and health and sanitizing and masks really benefited from Corona. I benefited a lot from Corona. I want to go to Farah. Farah had a startup, an amazing hair salon, and she had an amazing plan ahead, and suddenly Corona happened. So business didn't go the way you planned for, Farah. How did you react?
First of all, as you said, I was really upset because I just started up my business and I had plans to do things, a lot of things, and suddenly March stopped. But actually, it actually gave me time to rethink as well, to replan. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. It actually, it gave me an opportunity to replan, rethink, with all these few months that we had, what went wrong at the beginning and what happened. So in a way, as Sam said, it was an opportunity for me to rethink about the business as well. So now I actually think, and I'm actually moving to another place.
Good. So it gave you the opportunity to replan whatever you had, and it didn't demotivate you. It didn't demotivate you.
It did at the beginning. I will not say it didn't. I nearly gave up. But then I thought about it twice and I said, I actually built up the business for a whole year and I have my customer base now. And they're all asking about it and when are you coming back? So it actually motivated again to go again up again. And it was a good opportunity actually for me.
Good, excellent. Reem wants to share. Reem al-Basri, Reem al-Basri. I cannot unmute. You just click on the microphone. The mic, the red mic. You don't have it. Okay, can you just share by writing? I'm not sure why you don't have it.
Okay, I have it now.
Okay.
Because I got disconnected earlier. So I think that's why. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that before Corona all started, I was just started to work in travel agency. It was new here in Bahrain, and we just started the business. And then at the same we started it this year, and then at the same month, Corona started to increase all the risk, and people have to stay home and closing the airports and all of that. So, you know, this thing, it affected our business very hard. And then we had to do something about it. So, and we were also new in the market. So we had to sit in many meetings to brainstorm ideas and how can we keep our business going. And it was a fact for us, but at the same time what we did and the plans that we came up with, it's to go digital. When I said that we go digital, it's to go on social media and to tease people about traveling, because everyone loves traveling, and we and we share with people information about countries, about what's going on out there, and to do a lot of campaigns and a lot of things in social media. And I think that what happened, COVID, that made a lot of companies go in the digital side. And I think that's a benefit to a lot of companies right now.
I totally agree. I think one thing we learned, it's not only Corona or COVID or whatever. Whenever you're starting a business, I give my daughter this example. Whenever she goes down, I tell her, when you started walking, you had to fall many times until you managed to walk. And when you started walking, you wanted to run, and you had to fall again until you could run. It's the same with startup. يعني مستحيل you find a startup immediately from day one just jumping. I مستحيل, for one reason, because then you didn't have all the challenges that will make you stronger. So all of you, when you want to start a business, bear in mind there will be challenges. Some challenges you can face them. Some challenges, they will make you change your direction, but it's not the end of the world. As Farah said, and as I think Reem just said, they will make you think of new ways, and they will make you review. So this is my tip for all of you who are gonna start a business. For some of you who are still scared to start, what are you going to lose? Just start it. As long as you have the passion and you are sure of what you're doing, and you're doing it because, as I told you yesterday, you have this feeling that you need to compete. You need to have all this inside you. يعني شنو أكثر شيء يصير? Okay, you might lose the capital, but if you're doing it with all the steps I gave you yesterday, trust me, you will not lose all the capital. You will still be able to go back again. You will still think out of the box. That's why I said yesterday, you need to sit and think between yourself and yourself. Am I ready? Do I want to do it? Did I do my research right? Do all the steps. People who can't go back are the people who don't think of all the aspects, or who are not honest with themselves, or who are doing it for the wrong reasons. One of the wrong reasons is the show off. I know a lady, she wanted to have a hairdresser, not because she had that passion. She had money. She wanted to have that wow place that she would go and sit. And she failed after 6 months. although she had a 7-star hairdresser, but she just did it for the show off and to say, I have a hairdresser. And yes, as Farah said, you can always come back again, and trust me, you come back stronger. I like what Najma is saying as well. You have to move out of your comfort zone. One of the reasons I left EventsCom and I decided to start FinMark, number one, because I really became an entrepreneur. And number two, because it was such a comfort zone for me. I didn't have any challenge. Here with FinMark, trust me, every day I feel I'm starting a new thing. I'm starting a new business. The challenge is there continuously. I don't feel I'm a 10 years old business. I feel I'm still young and I want to grow, and I just feel it that way. You have to have this fire inside you. And of course, many people, once they start a business and it's successful, they go and retire because the business has a strong foundation. It all depends on you. I don't know which type of good people you're referring to, Marwa. You don't understand the type of group. How long will... Yes, tell me.
Well, regarding the story of this Corona thing, I had this fire that you talked about for 1 year, and beginning of this year, the last thing I remember that was really good was the celebration in the avenues, and then that's it. خلصنا. And the epidemic happened. The epidemic happened. I was one of the first ones to stay at home because I am a stay-at-home mom due to my babies coming to this world in a very harsh way. Alhamdulillah, Allah طلعهم سالمين. And they had to stay in the ICU. Sorry, I'm going so personal with this, but it really inspired me, all of this, to start up my own business. And in June, I had the coronavirus. It came into the house of mine and it took my father-in-law. Before he left, the last thing he said to me, he knew something was there in my head. He had this vision in his head. Yani, if there was a business that opens, he knows that it will fail or not. Just by looking, I don't know, he had that power. I don't know how. Yani. He knows how to analyze. He's a businessman. And he knew how to analyze things. Some people were scared of him. No, he's in being and stuff, but no. He really had a very good vision in his head. He told me, Marwa, you are staying at home and you tried a lot of things. You tried engineering. After engineering, you went to teaching. I taught in a university and it did not really much suit me. I did not find myself after 10 years still teaching in this place as an engineer, same field as I am. So he thought that there was something in my head, but I did not even say it. It was still burning inside me. Every night I don't sleep until last night. I tell you, I did not sleep after what you did. After the things you told us, I did not sleep at all. Just thinking. طلعت الشمس ومروة للحين ما رقدت.
I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. Okay.
No, it's a very good thing. You really inspired me. And after this epidemic, before it happened, and it took him away, Allah yarhamah, he told me, Marwa, you should start something. It was so general. But I thought of it, sitting on those 21 days of isolation, not 14 to be honest with you. The other one was really drawing every night. But I did the business that I started. I did not my passion. I said, I'm doing this for something. I know I'm doing this for something.
Marwa, I'm not sure if it's me or everyone. I cannot hear you carefully. I cannot hear you properly. But if you have this fire and you know that you can do something, definitely, I think you should do it. I think what you should do, one thing we spoke about yesterday, focus. I think you're one of those creative ladies who think of many ideas at the same time. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me or you cannot hear Marwa? I'm lost now. Okay, you can hear me. So when people don't sleep, this means they have so many ideas in their mind and they're trying to analyze everything. So I think focus is very important. Even when you manage your business, focusing is very important. When you want to take an action, once you focus, then you will know what is the right thing to do. My next slide is how long will it take to go towards your identified goals and have a successful business? Personally, I think there is no time limit because as you go forward, it's next, you know? There is, of course, a timeline to start benefiting and to start seeing your business is set. The foundation has which is a startup. The foundation has a timeline. You need to set a timeline for yourself to put all the elements you need to start your business. But then as you go forward with a different evaluation, you need to always evaluate and put specific timelines, but there is no timeline. I'm telling you, I am 10 years in the business and I had, for every stage, I had an identified goal. The startup stage, my goals were to put all the structure, build a right business, have the right tools, start approaching customers. As I started gaining customers, start changing my way, start seeing what the competitor is doing and doing something better. So I think the main goal as a startup you need to put is the timeline to set up and to start. Sulaf, don't wait to be fully ready. Some people, they are perfectionists. They want everything to be there and then they start the business. If you have the right ingredients, which is the passion, you know why you're doing it, you know the different things, just start and go. You cannot have everything ready to start. It's impossible because sometimes—
Thanks for saying that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sorry, I'm not trying to, but
No. I so appreciate it.
because some people, like I have friends, I know they just need to start their business, but because they are perfectionists, they want everything to be there. Then they want to start. I'm like, my God, you have everything to start. And once you go and once you jump, everything else will come. I believe that the way you learn swimming is just jumping into the swimming pool. Of course, you have to make sure that you have the right physical strength. You know that you have the right physical strength. You know the basics, you just jump. I'm not just telling everyone just to jump without having the basic elements, but don't wait to have everything. This is my advice. Don't think there is a timeline. I had a friend, she said, I want to start my business, and her objective was she wanted to be a millionaire, and I think she said 5 years time or something like that. And I told her, once you put money as your objective, you will fail. A lady really inspired me. I have to tell you her story. So in 2000, at that time, I was working for a PR agency. So PR was totally new for me. I didn't even know what PR was. And then I had a client. You will all know who the client is. This young lady, she came from PR background. She was Palestinian with American passport. And she wanted to launch the first N-bar or nail bar station in Bahrain. At that time in Bahrain, we only had hairdressers and salons. So it was not really something normal to go and find a salon which is only for nails. She came from the States and she explained to me that in the States, it's like what we have now in Bahrain. Everywhere there is a nail station and everybody care about their nails. And trust me, in Bahrain, it was not the case. People in my age would agree with me. So I was inspired because she told me her plan was, to do a PR strategy. I had to sit with her. I had to ask her, what's your vision? What's your mission? She told me, I want to start my pilot in Bahrain. And then my dream is to have my brand everywhere in the Gulf and in Jordan. And for me, I looked at her, I said, oh, so you think a nail station will work and in the Gulf we will have? She said, yes, this is the future. And I see my brand growing everywhere. and I want to create a brand from now, because she had the experience working for an agency and she was an employee one day. So she had the system, and she said, I want to start right from here as a foundation, and this will be everywhere. I helped her to do the launch. So I worked with her on the launch. This brand is N Style. How many of you go or heard about N Style in Ali Mall? So a few years later, N Style now is in Dubai and in DIFC. I forgot a couple of other places. N Style is in Kuwait. N Style is in Jordan. N Style is in Qatar. And funny enough that as I grew my business and I started traveling, I would see N Style everywhere. She was in Forbes in the 100 women, successful women. And because I saw how she started, it makes me feel so proud of her. Her name is Lama. Google her. And you will, and I saw how she started that brand. And I saw her vision and I saw the fire. She went through so many issues because she was not a Bahraini. She didn't have a Bahraini passport. She didn't have any relatives in Bahrain. She only had friends. She was just getting married. One of you asked me a question at the beginning of the call. Will people take you seriously if you are a mother? If you take yourself seriously, everybody will take you seriously. If you go and say, oh, I'm a mom, I didn't sleep at night, and if you make it a big deal, nobody will take it seriously. So this is a tip for you. You make people think of you seriously or not. People will not take that image about you if you didn't give them the chance. So this woman was going to get married. She established that business. I'm talking about 2000. She was attacked by many people over here because it was a start of a competition. She went through lots of ups and downs, but she managed to reach. She is a known brand now, and as I told you, she has other businesses. I follow her on Instagram, and she was one of the women, like the inspirational woman. And I saw how this all happened. She established a family. She has 3 children. So while establishing a family, getting married, and we all know the married woman over here, how challenging it is to enter a new life, a new partnership. She did all that and she reached. Why? Because she knew what she wanted. She had the passion, she had the vision, she had the mission. And although many problems came into her way, she didn't give up. So there is no time, because this slide is about time. Before I go to another slide, anybody wants to share anything? ديمقراطية هني. So I believe we can go to the next slide. Okay, mentorships. Before I talk about what are the mentorship, how many of you have mentors in your life over here? Or how many of you are mentoring someone? Either you have a mentor or you're a mentee or you're a mentor. You're either a mentor or a mentee or both. Mariam, you're a mentor and a mentee. Leslie have both. Why is it important to have a mentor or mentor someone? وداد لأن أول مرة أسمع منك. You are both. Can you give us your views on mentorship and the importance of mentorship? You can unmute yourself or you can type. وداد, can you hear me? Do you want to share your views? Marwa is saying guidance. So personally, I always had mentors and I always used to mentee, but maybe before the term mentorship was not really used as much as it's used now. We had role models, we had people who we go and we speak to, but now in the recent years, both for career-oriented people and for people who are starting their business, mentorship is very, very, very important. A mentor is someone who has done it, who knows how things, what went right and what went wrong, and who will share experience with you. But they will not guide you to do it or not to do it. They will share their experience. This is what I'm trying to do through this workshop. And this is what I want to do when any one of you, because there will be a program, I'll talk about it for the mentorship. I currently have a few mentors mentees, I mean. Some of them, I try to mentor them on how to start their business. Some of them, they are in the public relation and events management. So I try to mentor them in the field as a career. I am personally a mentee. I have mentors. I have goals. I have mentors who are helping me because my next objective is to be on the boards of different companies. So I am trying to get the right mentors who are already on boards to tell me what is the right way. So it's a continuous learning, and you need to find the right mentor. Some people think a mentor is somebody who will tell them, do it this way or don't do it that way. And some people think a mentor is a coach. They're totally different things. I cannot coach, but I can mentor. Coach, they go and study. It's not necessary that they have done what you're gonna do, but they know the scientific way on how to plan to go from point A to point B. But a mentor has done it before, and they will help you and they will tell you what came into their way. So with this workshop, you will have the opportunity to have mentorship hours with me, and I think with others. You need to send an email, you need to answer a few questions, and then it's on first come, first serve because there are limited seats for mentors. If you're starting a business, I totally recommend that you find the right mentor, not necessarily myself, but anyone who did it before, and better in the same field, because you will learn. And the mentor you're trying to find should be someone who is willing to give. Some people are excellent, but they do not have the way, they do not know how to transfer the knowledge, or they do not have this giving feeling. So always try to find a mentor who wants to help because they find it as a passion. I find mentorship a passion as well. Also, you need to mentor others. There are others who want to learn from your experience, not necessarily in starting a business, but in other things. It's always important to find a mentor. There is no specific right time. From the beginning, from now, you want to start a business, have a mentor who started a business. You already started your business and you're going into certain thing, have the same mentor or another mentor. Mafi right time or wrong time. It's like a piece, somebody is going to help you to hold your hand. I won't say to hold your hand because you need to do it yourself, but to teach you how they did it. So there is no right or wrong time for having a mentor. Anyone here who has a mentor who wants to share with us their experience? Farah, do you have a mentor?
No.
Okay, so you need to find one.
Okay, can you be my mentor?
I'm more than happy, and I take it for granted. Farah is a good friend of mine since childhood, so that's why. Lamia, mentor is an advisor to give you an advice. Well, mentor can advise you, but at the same time, this is how I look at it, even if you go and Google. A mentor has done it before. يعني mentor can be in different things. A lady I know, she wants me to mentor her because she cannot balance her time being a mother, a wife, and working. So she's like, Zahra, she thinks I can balance, although I don't think I can balance. So I am now giving her from my experience how I'm doing it. The reason she asked me for that, she saw me very active with both of my girls, taking them for activities, initiating programs, and she sees me very active at my work, and she sees me having a social life, going out with all my friends since I was a child. So she was like, I want to know how you're doing it. So my mentorship with her is giving her my tips and how I'm doing it. I have a mentor. Her name is Farah Fustok. She's not here. She's on the board of many international organizations. So I asked her to help me and mentor me how I can go and be a board member in international organizations. I don't know how to do it. I can read about it. I can take an advice. I can have a coach, but I need somebody who has done it. So there is no time, there is no specific topic for mentorship, but I always remind people, you need to give and take. You also need to help others. Don't expect somebody else only to help you. I'm sure there are certain things you're good at that you can help others with. And mentorship should be taken very seriously. It's a relationship. It's not only like one time and that's it. Currently, I am part of a program called Reach Mentorship. Reach Mentorship is focusing on professional women. So it's not about startups or businesses. It's about professional women. There is a platform, it's digital. It matches the right mentor with the right mentee. We have an agreement, we sign, it's a 1-year relationship. So my mentee, I have committed to have every few weeks, a couple of hours with her. She will come back to me, she will share the different challenges, I will share with her. And both of us have put what is the purpose of this mentorship, and it's being monitored. So I definitely recommend that you apply for the Startup Magazine mentorship. And it's a program that has been supported by the US government and by Tamkeen. Again, there is a difference between role models, mentors, coaches. Remember all that. And if you are either a mentee or a mentor, you really need to take it seriously. In this mentorship, there are 5 sessions. Each session, it's a 2 hours. It's one-to-one for you or your team. And it starts from September 17th to October 30th. Availability of the instructor for mentorship sessions, of course, we have to agree. So how many of you will apply for the mentorship? So I have a question from Anushka. I have a question. Given the socializing and networking in person has become difficult during these times, how would you recommend meeting new people, building a network, or finding mentors during this time? Such workshop is one of the ways. Attending the different programs, that there are lots of virtual programs. I was saying this a couple of half an hour ago. The problem is there are too many virtual. Today there was a virtual mentorship networking session. It was on how to communicate. Ladies, Google Reach, but this is only for professional women, and know about it more. Tamkeen has announced their mentorship and their coaching program beginning of the year. They will be re-announcing all their programs. Read about it. Marwa says she applied for the previous workshop and still didn't get her mentorship sessions. I think Jinan can answer that. So I would definitely recommend that all of you go for mentorship. Internships. Yesterday, many of you said that they are more than happy to help, I think Sarah or one of the ladies, and be interns or volunteers. You can also apply for internship and job opportunities. These are the companies. There is at Obai and Hill, account manager, full-time job. There is at Unipal, sales manager, full-time. There is at Mala'ab, facility manager, full-time job. Apply now. At FinMarks Communications, you can get an internship. So once you apply, I'm sure that Startup Magazine will definitely find a way. I'm just trying to go to the chats. So, yes, Farah, you have a mentor now. You always had me. So yes, now, please ask all your questions about building your business, managing your business, sharing stories. It's a free time for all of us to talk. Ask me questions. Maybe I have missed many points. Because as I said before, this is really a discussion. I'm learning from you, you're learning from me. So it's time for you to ask questions. Hello?
Hi. I am hogging the whole thing, I know, but no one else is talking, so.
It's okay. They are losing the opportunity, and we are gaining to hear your voice.
Okay, so my question is about the business plan that we're supposed to submit. I'm actually having trouble in summarizing and simplifying my idea. My idea is very extensive, but I don't know how to get to the point without going through everything else.
I think what I will do, Janan will share with you the PowerPoint presentation. If I were you, what I would do, because I have put all the questions which I discussed yesterday and today, and the reason I did it that way to make it easier for you ladies to start your business plan. Put all these questions and add questions and answer each question. And focus. And do mind mapping. And use a paper and a pen. Most of you, I know you are the technology and the digital. Trust me, when you write on the paper and you draw and you put everything, you are so connected to your own handwriting. It flows. Maybe the generation of the 70s and the 80s will agree with me. Shroikum.
Zahra, one thing that really helped me put my ideas on paper was using the business model canvas. It breaks it down into 9 little boxes and it summarizes your entire business plan. So you no longer need a 50-page business plan with projections and an executive summary. I don't know if anybody else has found that useful, but I found it very useful.
Do you mind putting it in the chat, like how they can get it?
Sure, it's a book and you can order it from Amazon, but they also have an excellent interactive website, and I'll put it in the chat now.
I think that would be excellent. And I was going to order your other book, the blue, I forgot, I wrote it in my other notepad.
2 of them. There's Blue Ocean Strategy, which came out, I think, in 2004, but now they have Blue Ocean Shift, which actually tells you how to apply it, which is, I found, more useful.
Okay. So ladies, this is excellent from Sulaf. You can follow what the link she's gonna give us. But the reason I put all these questions yesterday, because honestly, when I wanted to start both Eventscom and FinMark, I just sat and I wrote everything in bullet points, and then I just did a PowerPoint. So that's why I thought I'll give you this experience I had. But what Sulaf is saying, this might be an interesting business model, and definitely we should look at it. I will definitely check it as well. Lamia, you missed the yesterday session. We will send you the full PowerPoint, and I am more than happy if you have any question to give me a call or send me an email. And yes, Aida, there are lots of templates, but as we said yesterday, trust me, I totally agree with Sulaf. Hold your pencil, sit, and it's like energy. Do you feel different when you write? And it's like when you express and when you draw diagrams, put it. It will be a flow of energy. One thing my dad told me when I was very, very, very young, at that time there were no mobile phones. I think I was 18 or 19. He told me sometimes amazing ideas come into your mind and then you wake up in the morning and the ideas are not there. I think this is what happened to Marwa last night. So he told me, buy a tape recorder, لأن أيامها ما كان في mobile. Whenever any idea comes to you, just record it and put it there, So put all that and then sit down and do mind mapping. Think of everything. Think of all the questions I mentioned yesterday and today and more questions. The ladies over here shared amazing experiences. They even gave me lots of things to think about, So just put that. What I want to receive from you, the plan, I will not read a 50-page document, I'm telling you. And I don't want an executive summary because I know that not everyone is able to do an executive summary or, I know that some of you like new to all that. I want answers to all my questions and I want to see how you're thinking. I don't care if the English is good or bad. I don't care if the grammar is good or bad. What I care about that it's clear. Of course, I don't want it to be handwritten because it should be soft copy, but the handwriting is for your side. I just want to see that, yes, this person convinced me with her idea, not only me, because there are 2 other people in the committee, and she deserves that we give her the 2 rewards, which is 6 months communication strategy and 1 year incubation at Bahrain International Incubators. Blue Ocean, we are trained to do that in university. Lucky you. I love the energy. Thank you, Leslie. Um, yes, I prefer a presentation via PowerPoint or a document that is, as long as the idea is there. I love what you have there. The financial plan, I don't want the financial plan to be that detailed. As long as your idea, how you want to do it, your research, what financial, non-financial, you're a startup at the end of the day. You cannot work on a financial plan and visibility study. I don't want that. I don't want to demotivate you, because if I was asked to do that before starting Eventscom and FinMark, trust me, I wouldn't have done it. You are all basic startups, So I don't want you to think that, oh, because I don't know how to do that, I will not do it. I take it from a different perspective. And I think the tips which Sulaf had given us and the other ladies on just going on the net and the PowerPoint I will send you, it will help you. Marwa said she wants to hire someone to do budget. Okay, hire me, I'll help you with that. I'm just kidding. Again, this workshop is purely for startups, for people who want to, they have an idea and they don't know how to start and they're scared. I'm glad you learned different things, Simirit. I think Jinan will share, I'll update the PowerPoint and she will share with you. Anybody wants, Farah, you are unmuted. You want to share something?
Hi. Yeah, this is Harsha. I want to say something. Yeah, thank you for the valuable information. Yeah, it was very good experience. Actually, I'm doing ICT business for here 3 years. Now it's been 3 years. I would like to provide internship program. So what is the legal side for providing internship? And because what my question is, I need to kind of contact LMRA like that for internship for taking.
What is your current visa in Bahrain? You're on what residency?
Investor visa. Actually, it's been 3 years. My company is running. My visa status investor visa. Actually, I want to take. I would like to provide internship for students.
You want to provide internship for students. This is everybody. You can apply to universities since you are in ICT. I think Bahrain Polytechnic. There are many universities. They are looking for companies to provide internship for their people.
Okay.
You have lots of universities in Bahrain, but Bahrain Polytechnic and Bahrain University, they are the public universities and they are really good. Of course, you have lots of other private universities. So I think
is there any legal side means like when we are taking a new employee, is there any legal side like that here for internship for regards this LMRS?
If the internship is provided for a Bahraini, there is no legal. But I had this issue. I had a Bahraini, but he had a Canadian passport, and he applied for internship. I was a bit worried with LMRA because I told him, you are a resident. You have a certain residency in Bahrain, and I approached LMRA, and they told me it was not legal.
Okay.
You can always ask.
Okay, yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Do I need to include technology requirements in the business plan? Definitely. If your business will need technical resources, definitely. Technical resources, I mean, even like servers or platforms. I am long time want helping from Tamkeen. Okay, Tamkeen, the good news, I heard that very soon, inshallah, they will relaunch and they will come back to support us, not only the startups, SMEs, even the Bahrainis. Yes, it's very complicated, the application form, but it's worth it. It makes you think. So once they announce, just read the papers. I was telling you yesterday, you need to be updated every day with what's happening around you. Whether you have a cafe or a PR agency or anything, if you own your business, you need to know what's happening around you. You need to be updated. You need to know what are the opportunities which are there for you. And this can only happen when you start reading the news. I have my Bahraini niece looking for internship. Please send her details. Today, I think there's a problem with net. Yes, Batirko, we need to نفضحهم. Can we be updated by social media official? Yes. Now, the news is the easiest thing to get, but you need to always know your source. Whenever I receive any piece of news on WhatsApp, the first thing I do, I go and check the source. I Google it. I see how many sources have written about it. And by the way, I am not only updated with local news. I try to be updated with GCC and international news, because business is not, we are it's global now. When you start a business in Bahrain, definitely, if not now, in the future, you will expand it outside Bahrain. So always try to be updated with all sorts of news and go to the proper news sections. Yes, just follow Tamkeen, follow Startup Magazine, follow Ministry of Commerce, social media, follow all the official ministries in Bahrain to know, even the Ministry of Justice. I follow everyone because any news, any updates, they put it. E-government, you don't need to buy a newspaper anymore. I am cutting off. Amal, can you tell us more about your point? I didn't understand it.
There is an There is an app that you can download. I'm not sure about the name. I just asked my brother. I'm waiting for him to send. You can schedule your Instagram post, Facebook posts for like 1 month or 2. So like you can spend 1 day scheduling it, and it will post it every day, like in certain time and certain date that you choose. So it's easy
for marketing your business more than for being updated with the news.
Yeah, there was a sister who was saying that she doesn't like posting posts on Instagram.
Yeah,
so I just asked my brother.
Thank you. If you can put it in the chat, it will be good. Question: the ladies here who have CR, how many of you are following BCCI Instagram and Ministry of Commerce? Not only Instagram, or their social media. Farah, Zainab, I know you ladies have the CR. I don't know about the rest. Are you following the news from Bahrain Chamber of Commerce, Bahrain Chamber, and from Ministry of Commerce? Are you following them? So I think Farah is not here. Simirat, I'm housewife, but I have ladies boutique, but I don't have any growing from my business, but I want try and try again. I didn't get you, Simirat, but I believe that you're starting from home and you're not putting a proper business model. And I'm following them, but sometimes I don't understand the news. That's good, Aida. When you don't understand the news, what I do, because this happens to me sometimes, I go and Google it, because some other papers, they might put more news about it, you know? أخذ أسوي copy paste, I put it in the search of Google, and I try to see what was this about? What did people talk about it, you know? Was there a hashtag? It's very, very important. And bravo, Heba, you don't have a CR, but you follow. المعرفة, knowledge, it's what's gonna make you successful in anything. Successful mother, successful employee, successful partner, happy, informed, but always you need to go to the right source of news. This is what's not happening nowadays, unfortunately. Things go viral, and it's most of the time, it's wrong news or wrong information. you should always, especially if you're starting your business, you cannot follow sources which is not accurate, rumors, because this will create tension for you. You need to follow professional sites, professional people. I'm using later.com for Instagram post scheduling. Thank you, Marwa. This is important, very good for me to know. So I think from my side, I have covered everything, but I am sure I have missed things which I don't know what they are. So if you don't have any questions from your side, I really want to thank you for giving me the opportunity yesterday and today, for really learning new things from you ladies. Hazem Janahi, follow him. Yes, Hazem has interesting things. Follow Startup Magazine. They are really, and not only Startup Magazine, and there is a startup, I'll tell you it's by EDB. And follow Tamkeen. If you want to start your business, you need to follow all these Instagram accounts. I'm just trying to find for you the. Sometimes you know what you can do? I'm sure you know more than me because you're all high tech. Just go and put startup. Follow Startup Bahrain events. I totally encourage you to join. So yes, this is all from my side. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy that you all have learned. And thank you, Janan, for being with us and for hosting this. I know it's not easy to be updated and just mute, unmute. So thank you very much, Janan. I really appreciate your support.
It's my pleasure, and I hope you all enjoyed it.
And thanks for the US government through their program to support Bahraini women and women in general. And yalla, يعطيكم العافية. You have all my details, whether I am your mentor or not your mentor, I'm your friend. So call me at any time. And inshallah, I see all of you soon. And inshallah, next time, one of you will do this session. I'll write my number and my email again. Zahraa Taher at, and by the way, you can use my business as well to promote your business. So we offer special packages for startups. If you're not a winner, we can still give you a special package to launch and to market and to do the right communication for your business and events. يعطيكم ألف عافية. And I have to say, sorry by the way for the internet connection. It was very bad, but thank you very much once again. Janan, I don't know if you want to end this workshop by thanking everyone and telling them what's next.
Okay, everyone, I'll be sending you an email either tomorrow or next week with the slides of this workshop and also how to apply for a mentorship session with Zahraa. And yeah, that's it. We also have a startup huddle coming up soon and also some networking events, so stay tuned.
Thank you. My number and email. Janan will send it to you by email to all of you. I will retype it. It was in the chat. This is my email and this is my number. Okay. See you, ladies.